Hello, and welcome to the World's RV Show, going on at Motorhome Specialist, the #1 volume-selling motorhome dealership in the world. My name's Donnie O'Banion, and today I'm being joined by Adam Gudger, who's the National Sales Manager and Chief Designer of the Thor Motor Coach Diesel Division. And today, Adam's going to be taking us for a tour of one of the most popular diesel pushers in the industry today, the Thor Motor Coach Palazzo. Adam, thanks so much for being here as always.
Donnie, thanks for having me. Folks, I'm really excited to share with you some exciting information on the Palazzo by Thor Motor Coach. The Palazzo is the #2 selling diesel motorhome in the country, and really a new take on diesel design, Donnie, because what we've done is we've taken those larger diesel pushers and we really condensed it down and made it drivable and available for everybody. You know, one thing that's nice about a diesel motorhome is that it's just easier to drive, it's quieter, and smoother down the road. You know, with this being on a Freightliner chassis with a Cummins engine, the power is going to be greater. You know, a gas coach is only going to give you about 467 pound-feet of torque, and this coach will either give you 660 or 700 pound-feet of torque, depending on the two engines we have available. The air ride suspension is an awesome feature because if you think about it, you're riding down the road, you got a front ride height sensor and a couple in the back, and as those axles move, there's airbags situated on all four corners, and it allows the coach to adjust as you're traveling. So there's air that literally will just constantly adjust and react to the road conditions. And what it does, it just promotes, that whole idea of getting out there and going and traveling and enjoying the motorhome. And durability wise, these things, chassis and engine, they'll run you, 500,000 miles or so. So really does an awesome job of just something you can take care of and go long distances. Fuel economy is another great thing. Believe it or not, we're delivering these Palazzos out to California. We're hearing back up to 14.5 miles of the gallon unloaded. So incredible, economies which never have been offered. So, Allison transmission's got a 6,000 Allison transmission in it. So all the real benefits of those big diesels, and we brought it into a smaller size. Another great thing, and especially with the smaller ones, the 33.2 and the 33.3, we've actually built this coach under 35 feet. And, where before, state and the national parks where you couldn't get the vehicles in, now you have the ability to take this coach and you can park it, anywhere, and you don't have to be outside the park. You can travel where you want to go, easier to get in and out. Just an awesome feature.
Really the best of both worlds. And then obviously you're able to achieve all of this being a Thor Motor Coach to where you're coming into the marketplace at comparable pricing to most people's gas motorhomes. And that's the reason why, a big reason for the coach's early success. I mean, because it hasn't been out that long. And again, as you said, the #2 selling motorhome in the industry already.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, if you think about it, we're really the same price as an upper end gas coach with this diesel chassis and motor. I mean, unbelievable thing to be able to offer the market. It used to be you had to spend upwards of $50,000 to be able to get into a diesel like this. And we were basically delivering it for gas money now. And the thing that you'll realize is the difference between a Class A gas on the road and a Class A diesel is probably the biggest gap of anything in any segment. I mean, you could drive and compare a Class C with a Class A gas, and there's less difference in the performance and handling than when you jump into the diesel motorhome.
Truly, and you're not sacrificing luxury. I mean, you built a beautiful coach. Now, the one that you're going to be showing us today is probably our most popular model here at Motorhome Specialist, just being that it's a bunk model. But I know you've got several new floor plans that you've brought to the market recently as well.
We have. I'm excited about the 33.3 because it's really a family coach, and this, believe it or not, is the first diesel motorhome, first Class A motorhome for that matter, that has an overhead bed in the front and it has side bunks in it. In fact, our CEO, Bob Martin, who runs all Thor Industries, that's what he owns. Because what's great is that, his boy has a friend, comes over, and then he has a daughter, and they each can be in their own separate areas with the 2 separate bunk locations. I mean, it's really going to give you more sleep than anything, and the booth sleeps and the sofa sleep. So, I mean, I guess doing the math, I mean, it's like 8 sleeping locations in this coach you could potentially be utilizing. So, more than anything, and it's only, like I said, under 35 feet. We also have a 33.2 where you sacrifice the side bunks, and then we slip in a stackable washer dryer, which really helps with those, full timers or people who are going to spend more time on the road. They don't have to worry about laundromats. You can do it yourself. And then we have a bath and a half that's under 38 feet, called the 36.1. So hard to believe.
Really popular as well.
Probably our second best seller, yeah. And then we just introduced a 35.1, where we never had a king bed available, and so now you're going to have an extra 12 inches of width with a king bed. You know,
Right.
There's hardly any gas or any smaller diesels for that matter that have a king. So we've
Right.
really provided all kinds of different layouts. You know, the 35-1's got the freestanding dinette. We got, you know, the boot dinette's available. So there's a lot of different versatility here, and, you know, all can be seen here at Motorhome Specialists because you guys stock all of them.
And, you know, as you said, family floor plan, obviously the bunk is aimed at that family lifestyle. However, in your Palazzos, with the addition now of that drop-down bed that's available in any of your models, you know, truly it's been great for even grandparents, people who don't have the kids all the time. You know, that's where they can buy your bath and a half, have a big full-size coach that they can utilize as a couple and have all that extra space. But anytime they've got the grandkids or anytime that they, you know, want to take extra friends or family, push of a button and, you know, any of the Palazzo floor plans immediately become a family-friendly floor plan. So
as we get inside, you'll get to see. I mean, you can't even tell it's there. So it's really nice and tucked away. So, but yeah, while we go ahead and move along down the side of the coach, I can show you a few of the new features we've offered. One thing is these frameless windows. You know, one thing we really believe a lot in is these thermal pane frameless windows. Thor Motor Coach is the #1 selling diesel motorhome in Canada. So we really focus hard on insulation because, you know, whether you're in Arizona in the summer or in Canada in the winter, it's either you need to get the thing cooled down or you want to get it nice and warm. Dual pane windows are a standard feature across our line, and they are thermal pane windows, meaning there's actually argon between the panes of glass. Even our cab windows are dual pane.
Right.
That's different than some other manufacturers out there where, you know, they only put the dual panes, you know, in the back part of the coach and not in the cab area. But, you know, obviously the windshield being there, we really have to focus our attention to make sure that we can contain, you know, and keep all the proper condition within the unit.
What I like about your dual pane glass here in the front is, besides the heating and cooling aspect, is just how much quieter it makes it for the driver and passenger when you're going down the road. Having that extra pane of glass, it just makes for a quieter ride there in the cockpit, which is, you know, something that.
Yeah, or in the park too. I mean, let's face it. I mean, when you're out there and you're trying to go to sleep at night, and there's somebody down the way that's, you know, having a party or whatever, you close that door, and it really does cut down on the noise level in the park area.
It really does.
You know, and Donnie, another thing about our windows you'll notice is that we do a top hinge style of frameless. And what's nice about that is when you're sitting on the sofa, you're not looking straight into a bar on the window. And then the other part that had been a negative in the past on frameless windows is that they only opened up, you know, from a halfway point, so ventilation was limited. Now we've actually taken that and we've turned it into a positive by putting it on the top. You actually can open that window all the way, which allows that you know, the air to get in.
Right.
You can open them in the rain. So we're one of the first companies to really take a really hard look at that and really take something that was like again a negative,
right,
and really turn it into a positive on the unit.
No, that's a really nice feature benefit.
And, you know, some other little things, you know, with the Freightliner, the dual fuel fills is a big deal.
Sure.
You know, we always want to try to make it easy for our customers when they're getting into these fuel stops because, you know, some of them are not easy. You're usually not familiar with where you're at. So, you know, you can pull right in, whichever side you're going to be on, you can fill it right up. We do put a, you know, 90 gallons worth of fuel, which is another great benefit. You know, you're getting 11 to, you know, 14 miles of the gallon. You can go a long way before you're ever having to fill it up.
Sure.
Along with storage is another big deal for us. You know, in the past, anytime you're looking at a diesel pusher, you know, with the engine in the back, you know, storage has always been at a minimum, and we're tucking in storage wherever we possibly can. That was one of the things we work with the engineers on this coach is like, look, how can we get a really good riding coach, good long wheelbase, which in this case is 208 inches, and still be able to tie in lots of storage? Because in the past, if you had a diesel pusher at 34 feet, that's why they didn't sell it, because they didn't have storage. So when we started with storage, when we were building them, it really made a huge difference. And then we took it to another level, and you know, everything's fiberglass lined, so you know, very well insulated. Right. You can see the hinges that we have going on here. You know, very heavy side hinge, so you're not having to bend underneath the door to be able to get at the storage. All tremendous benefits for our customers. Another great feature as we come down the coach is this side entry location. Again, really one thing that has been lost in the diesel side of the business, all, you know, the doors happen to be up front. Being on the side of the coach, it really provides a tremendous amount of benefits. The first one being for the passenger, where you're not going to have a lot of noise up front. Anytime you have a door there, I don't care how well you build the coach, there's going to be some noise. You know, you have that step well there that gets in the way. This kind of takes that all away from the passenger. So, you know, if you're somebody that maybe, has a little bit of motion sickness or just isn't comfortable on longer trips. It really allows this coach to be something that an RV that you actually get some enjoyment from. Another great thing is just access. I mean, when you're looking at a house, where do they put the door? They don't put it on the side, do they? They put it right in the middle, because that way you can go to the kitchen, you can go to the living room, and it's a centrally located point. Similar idea with the motorhome. You get inside, your refrigerator is close by, you want to sit down and take a rest. You have easy in and out. Also, it allows us where you can come out underneath the patio, because whenever you put the door in the front, you're going to have the awning that's going to be smaller right there. So, if the rain's coming this way or that way, it doesn't keep that area dry. Well, this one, you can put that whole patio awning out, and it provides a nice open space for you to get in and out of.
Yeah, and it's especially important in products like this that are designed for the family. Because when you've got kids, especially with the traffic, when you got friends and family, it enables you to have that front living area where you're sitting there watching TV, and instead of having people running up down the kids every time they want to go get a Coke, and every time they got to go to the restroom, and running up and down the hallway the entire time, obviously, as you said, they can easily get inside, get to their part of the coach, get to the restrooms easily, get to the kitchen, and you still have an unobstructed living room area where you can watch TV and relax. And it gives you a whole different level of living spaces, especially when you're going to be traveling with a lot of people.
Yeah, and you'll notice where the step was. I mean, it really gave you a low point too. So you're, if you have false knees or hips or anything else, you can get in and out of the coach very easily. And we kept that in mind when we were designing it. And then moving along back, a mega storage compartment's got a nice slide tray in here.
Yeah, I like
in fact,
these.
When you go with the 36.1 or the 33.2, we actually double the size of this, or maybe even more than double it. So really focusing in. I mean, in fact, just off the top of my head, I know the 33.2 has like 136 cubic feet of exterior storage. I mean, that's unprecedented in this business. I mean, you're talking about more storage in a 34-foot motorhome than some 40-foot models have that we compete against. I mean, that's a huge. That could be the difference between purchasing something and not, because obviously when you're buying a diesel, you have in mind the idea that you're going to be out for longer, and we just want to make it easier for you to do that. I mean, if you can't bring the stuff along with you, what's the point? I mean, you're going to have to go and you're going to have to shop all the time or whatever. And in addition to the storage, we're also doing something with the chassis, because they are a diesel, is the fact that, this is a 26,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. And this coach, as it sits right here, is less than 22,000 pounds. So when you're thinking about that, I mean, you can be a rock collector, Donnie, and you're still not going to overload this motorhome.
Yeah, and what just a smart use of space here. Y'all were the first ones to basically floor all the way across the bottom, and a drop rail chassis to where you can still create that full pass-through storage, but then actually utilizing the rail to create that second tier of complete pass-through storage. It's really smart.
Typically, it's a void that's never utilized. So we said, how can we create a more vertical storage space, and that was what our engineers came up with. I thought it was a pretty decent idea.
Really nice.
And Donnie, something else that I know I can't live without, nor can my family, is a little outside entertainment.
Right.
And this is a standard feature on all Palazzo models. In fact, every feature on a Palazzo is standard. Only motorhome in the industry that's that way. And why not have a TV outside? So whether it be watching the ball game or the home shopping network, whatever it is that you enjoy to do, pick your pleasure. And we're going to have an outside TV, 32 inches. It's an LED TV, so that you can sit down, be comfortable, and still enjoy the outside, and maybe catch whatever it is on TV that you're looking for.
Sure. No, it's a great benefit, and obviously for the last 6 or 7 years, we were such a huge proponent of getting extra entertainment centers in everything.
Absolutely. Now, right here, this is going to be your wet bay. So behind this panel is going to be where your black and your gray tanks are. One thing that is nice to note about this area is that we do heat this portion of the coach. So if you're in colder weather, the coach is either going to have a 35,000 BTU furnace, or I think we have 220s. Anyway, we duct heat down off of the furnace down into the wet bay area. There's other competitors that will just put a small block heater down here. That doesn't really do a very good job in cold weather. So we felt that it was necessary to take some of that heat from the living area and put it down in the basement. The other great thing about that is that if you're ever in cold weather and you're concerned about this area getting heat, you're getting heat if you're getting heat up in the living room. With those block heaters, you'd actually literally have to get out of the coach into the cold weather, be uncomfortable, and figure, oh, did that darn heat come on or not?
Make sure you'd have to worry about breakers being thrown anything along those
Did I
lines,
set
middle
my
of the night,
temperature
not know
setting
it.
properly? I mean, all kinds of things. So we just try to make it easy for people. Also, another great feature that we have in the Palazzo are our electric awnings. So power awning comes right out, easy to get set up. You're not having to hassle with an awning rod or whatever to try to figure it out, and gives you a lot of coverage, a lot of good pitch to it. So with shade and water runoff, all that stuff, and they really provide a nice awning for us.
Right, and you've got a much larger patio awning on this than a traditional bunk model, because traditionally the bunks are going to be in a slide out room on this side of the coach. And because of the unique design that y'all have, integrating the bunks into the full wall slide gives you a much larger patio area over here on this side of the coach. And it's just really smart to me, having the kids not literally, if you're staying up later than the kids, which happens a lot.
Sitting right out on you.
Literally, their slide out room is right there. Their window's right there, and you're outside with your friends or whatever. Later in the evening, it's just a nice thing of having them on the quieter side of the coach and on the other side of the motorhome. And again, this arrangement gives you a much larger patio area, which certainly nobody's going to complain about that.
Yeah, we've noticed that there's been some smaller awnings out there, and it's nice to have a good amount of space, and so we really focus on trying to design our coaches to create more awning area. And then as we move along back to the rear, we have a slide out back here in the back, which is going to give us some additional space to get around the bed, also some extra drawer space.
Yeah, then, really large bank of drawers.
And then right here, you'll notice where the batteries are located. And, we do give you a lot of height. So, when it comes to the house batteries, we've actually gone to 2 additional on this motorhome. And the reason being is that we have a residential refrigerator inside. And so we add 2 additional batteries to be able to support that. Most gas coaches are only going to have a couple batteries. We add 4 to the motorhome. There's also a chassis disconnect. One thing that'll happen if you're storing the coach for extended periods of time is there's a thing called parasitic drain, where for some reason there's something on, but you don't know what it is. That's draining your chassis battery. So you're finally ready to get out and camp. Maybe it's springtime, or it's winter and you're ready to get the heck out of the cold weather. You come right out here, flip that on switch on, and when you hit the ignition, it's going to start the engine up without any issues.
Really nice.
Yep, and then chassis are right there as well. So
now before we get too much further, into the features and the benefits, of the Palazzo, could you tell us a little bit more about, what Thor Motor Coach does differently from a build standpoint? As far as everything's going to have a slide out room, anymore, but the gears, the mechanisms that y'all are using, y'all are one of the industry leaders and pioneers of the full wall slide. Again, throughout your product lines, and some of the things that y'all are able to do from a build standpoint, from the roof to sidewalls. We mentioned Freightliner chassis, but what y'all do after getting that chassis that separates you from the rest of the manufacturers out there.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Donnie, because that's something that we try to keep consistent. Really, when you look at our product lineup, all the way from our Class Cs all the way up to our top-end diesels, and the structure, the things you can't see, those are the things that really make or break, the design of a motorhome. And it really starts with the foundation. Most manufacturers anyway, buy and build on a Freightliner or a Ford chassis. But it's what you do with that Freightliner chassis that really makes all the difference. Absolutely. We have a company called Moride that we work with that, they work in design for the military. They've a tremendous amount of experience in designing suspension systems, and they've really worked hard with us on trying to just continue to develop the platform, the superstructure that we're mounting that Freightliner chassis to, that ties the house of the motorhome with the chassis. Because Definitely. If we can make all of that one complete unit, if it's all designed together, that's what's going to make the ride better. And it's so funny because I encounter customers all the time that just expect all Freightliners to be made and to drive equally, and that's not the case. I mean, you really need to get out and drive and see the differences, but it's just about balance. It's about the mechanical engineering. We have degreed engineers. They treat their steel differently because they store it indoors. They have robotics. I mean, what companies out there have robots to weld? They have lasers. So they have all the best technology out there to make sure that all the measurements are precise, that all the welds are clean, so that it's just going to last. And we do that with our own mechanical engineers that really have they have the best understanding of what the house is designed like, so they can all fit together. From a structural standpoint, all of our motorhomes are vacuum bonded. And I know a lot of our folks out there don't know what that means, but in the past, when motorhomes were first designed, they were built like a home. Things were just glued together, basically built as it went up. We actually build the entire floor structure, we build the entire sidewall structure, and we build the entire roof structure independent, and then we put those things together. And we do them with the right types of materials. I mean, there's companies out there building their floor structure out of wood. We don't believe in that. The chassis is made out of steel, so our floors are made out of steel. We put an 1.5 inch tubular steel floor in this coach with polystyrene, 2-pound polystyrene insulation. There's fiberglass mat, that Pink Panther type of stuff that you'll see in homes. Motorhome manufacturers will use that stuff in sidewalls and the floor. Not us. We use a block foam insulation, so we know it's not going to move around. These motorhomes are moving down the road. We want that insulation to stay where we designed it in the first place. We put a 3/8 or 5/8 inch structure wood, depending on the model. And that's all laminated together, vacuum bonded together. The urethanes that we're using, they all stay together as one complete piece. And then we design our sidewalls where it's 1.5 inch aluminum, where we frame all the windows out. We have cross member within the wall. We're not relying on just perimeter. The slide outs, when they're full wall size, they have up to 6 inch, 1/4 inch aluminum headers, sometimes double tube, that runs the entire perimeter just to hold up and be able to keep the coach contained. The roof, there's no wood rafters in the roof. We're talking all aluminum, and it's inch by inch or inch by 1.5 inch aluminum every 15 inches on center the entire way down, and it ties together with the sidewall. So just impressive stuff. I mean, we invest upwards of $300,000 per machine, per lamination machine, and I don't know what we're up to now. I think it's like 7, 8, or 9, maybe even 10 of them within the plants, to make sure we have the best technology. Because once these roofs and sidewalls and floors are made, they need to last forever. We never want to have to come back and deal with anything. And then by laminating, electro galvanized steel plates in the sidewall where we're anchoring our cabinets to,
that's a big one,
and reinforcing the front area of the coach so there's steel up there to protect the driver from any issues that might occur. Because as you know, Donnie, there's a lot of situations where an accident is not your fault. You're just relying on what happened down the road. And so you need to know that this motorhome is going to be there to protect you and your family. And that's one thing that we do an excellent job of, is building a safe, reliable vehicle. Absolutely.
And, y'all are able to make the investment and, spend more money in engineering, in the things that you put on the coach from and options and feature benefits. But beyond that, to have to be able to spend the money, in the build of the product and still come to market with products that are below the competitors because you're Thor Motor Coach and have the type of buying power because y'all build so many units. So, the air conditionings, the refrigerators, the inverters, the Freightliner chassis themselves, the Onan generators, all of those components, as you said, in a video one time, you told me there were 6,000 parts in a Tuscany. So, obviously when you're buying that many pieces, every manufacturer has to buy like or similar products. And when you're able to buy in bulk, just like anything else, it's got to get cheaper. And then, like I said, y'all are able to use your buying power to create better products, better engineered products, and again, come to market at or below the competitors.
This is a $200,000 motorhome, so we want to make sure that we're giving you all the best value that you can possibly get. And so as we move along, and there's just so much to talk about, but as you can see, there's also an inverter in this motorhome. So all your TVs, your outlets, your refrigerator, your microwave, they all run off of 110 power. So this device here was going to convert all your direct current to alternating. And we use a 2,000 watt inverter on this motorhome. I mean, again, when you're looking at gas coaches for comparable money, it's typically a 500 watt inverter. It's an option, and you may be able to run one TV with it. So this is going to actually power every outlet, every television, microwave, and so it does a lot in the refrigerator.
And that's this one component right here is something that a lot of first-time buyers don't understand or know what it's really going to do for you. But without that, when you're traveling in a gas rig, you've got to have the generator running to entertain the kids. If they're going to watch TV, if they're going to play games, or they're going to do anything on 110, which they're going to do basically the entire time you're traveling, you got to have a generator running. And with this additional component which is Typically, I mean, you're going to find it in a diesel coach because you have these additional batteries that you're talking about over
That's right.
here. So, that again just enables you to turn the TV on, turn the DVD player on. They can plug up game systems, charge phones, whatever the case may be. You can do that going down the road simply using the engine, and the alternator, recharging these batteries and giving you a continuous 110 power on the inside of the coach without using your fuel.
Yeah, and another thing, and we talked about it earlier, but this is a shorter coach. And so what that also lends for is that more adventurous RV customer. So, you might want to go out of bounds.
Right.
And, you might not be able to run your generator because there's rules within a park where there has to be quiet time. And so you can run lights, you can read a book, maybe, TVs aren't your thing, but,
Sure.
the thing is your refrigerator is going to stay cold. You don't have to run the gen. And it's going to take care of you for an extended period of time, and you can go and be that adventurous customer without the plugins or whatnot.
Right, and but as you mentioned, if you do have to run the generator, again, being a diesel coach, now you've got a diesel generator, so you can run for much longer periods of time, and the generator itself is quieter, more powerful, will handle more load, and give you the ability to do a lot more of that dry camping you were talking about.
Absolutely. So here we are at the rear of the coach, and the first thing that I love about the Palazzo is the fact that it's got a ladder on it. You would not believe, Donnie, how many coaches that are out there that don't have ladders. It's very important that a customer will always check their roof seals once a year. This happens to have a thermal polyolefin roof, TPO roof on it. So one thing we don't like is rubber. So this is actually a fabric. And it's more pliable. It's got an insulating factor. It's got a 12-year warranty. It doesn't streak, tear, or chalk like a rubber would.
Right.
And you can get right up there, check it, make sure everything is good with seals once a year. Like I said, some people will like to actually spend time up on a roof. I was at the Kentucky Derby one year, and we actually sat up there and kind of watched people walking by. And but yeah, you have the ability to do it. We anchor this, so it's very solid and easy to deal with.
And y'all's TPO roofs are also ENERGY STAR rated.
They are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, they last, so long. Like I said, they're the longest warranty in the business at 12 years. So we love them. And it's lighter in weight too, which, obviously when I'm talking about carrying capacity and trying to be able to offer up as much payload as possible, we're looking at lightweight materials that last a long time. That's really the best thing to use in a motorhome.
It does provide a tremendous amount of weight savings. And then big 10,000-pound hitch.
Yeah, speaking of weight, right? 10,000-pound hitch rating on this coach. So really, just offers up so many more benefits. Also, with the fact that it provides you with a 1,000-pound tongue weight as well. If you have like a motorcycle lift, things like that, you can actually pull that off in a Palazzo as long as you're paying attention to what your weights are. Also, you'll see there is a rear camera on here. Again, when you're talking about these bigger motorhomes, we want to make it easy for you to be able to park it. You can watch your tow vehicle from the back, but that's right on there. And you also have the side cameras as well that we incorporate with each of the side view mirrors. So you can either see either of the blind spots or the rear of the vehicle without any problem. I know all the cars today are finally starting to get it as well, but we've been doing it in motorhomes for some time, and it really takes that intimidation factor out of the unit. And once you drive one of these Class A's, you realize it's probably the easiest thing on the road to drive. Tracks very well. And then, with the rear engine, something just I really want to stress with all you folks out there is that when you put that engine in the back, it really does create a much more pleasurable environment to be able to travel in. That noise level gets completely eliminated. You can whisper back and forth to whoever you're traveling with. You don't have a big doghouse in the front of the coach that gets in the way. You can you just utilize the front area of the coach so much better, and it just makes it for a more efficient motorhome as well, because obviously the engine being located near the drive axle, it allows it to move down the road really efficiently.
Right. And just to touch on the cameras for just a second more, all of y'all's actually are infrared, correct? So at night, without any lights on around the coach, it's been really important for a lot of our customers being able to use them as security cameras. When you're at a park and you don't know, you met some people, this, that, the other, but somebody knocks on your door, at 9 o'clock at night, it can be a little intimidating, at times, where you can go up there though and, check the camera system and see who's standing at your door or monitor around the outside of your coach. It's a really nice security benefit as well with the camera systems that y'all are using, again, being that they're infrared.
With the way the coach is built, it really is like Fort Knox on the inside. Nobody's getting in unless you want them to. So you're absolutely right. I mean, the cameras will allow you to really kind of get a feel for your surroundings, and you can know that you and your family are going to be safe.
Nice deal.
And when we're talking about buying parts and pieces for less because of being a Thor Industries company, one of the things that really comes to mind for me is just an example like a water heater. I mean, obviously, Donnie, we want to make sure we have plenty of hot water, right?
Right.
Well, believe it or not, almost every competitor that we deal with in this business put a little 6-gallon gas electric hot water heater in. We go to a 10 on the Palazzo. It's a diesel. You're going to spend more time. It's a bunk, so you're going to have more family members, as I mentioned, that might be a part of this whole equation. This 10-gallon gas electric hot water heater will have a 19-gallon recovery time in an hour. So it really will provide more of those residential benefits of home that our other competitors can't provide.
Absolutely. You got 3 kids in there and you're trying to get them all showered at night and you're literally waiting on hot water, for the next one to take a shower. It can actually make a chore out of just getting the kids to bed.
Yeah, cold showers are like punishment. I'm not in for that kind of thing. So anyway, and then another thing, again, goes very unnoticed, and without the experience, you wouldn't realize what a tremendous benefit is. But we relocated our diesel emissions fluid tanks to the roadside, and not only did we do that, but we also use a 13-gallon tank. I happen to notice that there's a number of competitors that run a 10-gallon tank. We've gone to a 13-gallon tank. You basically can drive about 3,500 miles before you're going to need to put more of this urea in the motorhome. But one thing that happened when we first started having to use diesel emissions fluid was that it wasn't available on a pump. So you had to carry around these 5-gallon jugs of urea, which not only it gets in the way of other things you could bring along with you, but was more expensive to buy in these big bottles, or you maybe just don't have the strength, or nor did you want to have, maybe, to move it around. So what's happened is in the industry is now they offer DEF on the pump, but only at the truck service center. So obviously with this motorhome, you can take it into a truck service center, but on semis, they locate the DEF on the roadside like we have here. When we first designed the Palazzo, it was located on the curbside, not realizing that we would have this great benefit. And when you go to a truck stop, Donnie, there's typically a lineup. So if you were having to fill up a DEF tank on the curbside, you literally have to have somebody get out there and hold up traffic, so that you can spin around the other way and fill it up. So we made it a point on all of our models a little over a year and a half ago to relocate this tank to make it sure that it was an easier way to deal with it.
Right. And not all of the competition have recognized that, or
there's only a couple right now in the business that have even known. So yeah, so it's a big deal. And then, and Donnie, one of the things that really sets us apart more than anybody else is our floor plan designs and how we've incorporated so many full wall slide outs. We talked about it before, but as you can see right here, this is over a 20-foot full wall slide. In fact, 3 out of the 4 models that we have full wall slide outs in them. In fact, you could even argue that the 4th one, because it's so long, is a full wall slide as well. But you're talking about in a motorhome, 34.5 feet long, 34.5 to be exact. And this coach has over 330 or upwards of 330 square feet of interior living space in it. And that's our smallest model. So, when you're looking at homes, you're always figuring, dollar per square foot. One thing I can assure you of, Donnie, is that you're buying a Thor diesel motorhome, you're going to get the most for your dollar square footage wise, because we're always going to have more than everyone else. And it not only works with just floor space, but also with storage, because when you're cutting it up with additional slides, you're losing 1.5 feet of cabinet here or there. And so, we really focus in on that fact, and it really allows us to be, much more creative with how we're utilizing the space and providing benefits for our customers.
No, and it's awesome. And as you noted, it's not just Thor diesel, it's Thor Motor Coach, industry wide. I mean, we're the largest Thor Motor Coach dealer in the country, so we sell everything that y'all sell on both sides. From what I understand, we're the only ones that sell every product that Thor Motor Coach makes, as far as 4Winds, Hurricane, Chateau, 4Winds, literally every make and model that y'all sell. And it's even in the Class C's now with full wall slides. The Class A gas, I mean, just more and more makes and models utilizing y'all's engineering to create these unbelievable living spaces throughout Thor Motor Coach's line, like I said, not even in just the diesels, but the Class A gas and C's as well.
It really starts with structure, because you can't build a full wall slide like this unless you have the right type of design built in to make sure you're not sacrificing, structural integrity. And, that's where, really set ourselves apart, is that you're not losing it, yet you're still gaining that benefit.
Right.
And here we are at the wet bay compartment. And you can see, we always try to make everything very convenient. There's a nice light here you can turn on so you can see what you're doing morning, noon, or night. And this area here pivots, so you have the ability to access, your sewer dump hose area through the bottom of the coach very easily. Low point drain. You got a shower here, so you can see that you can clean yourself off if you're out there and dealing with a muddy type of situation. There is a sewer hose flush as well, so you can clean out that tank and make sure that everything is working properly. Winterizing, you name it. It's all very easily done. There is a central water filtration system that goes in on all the water that comes into the coach, and as I mentioned before, this is a heated area as well.
And the shower itself looks like you've got both hot and cold. So, I mean, it's not just washing out, the bay itself or things like that, but at that point you can utilize it, wash people who take the dog with them, that kind of stuff. They want to wash them outside, the coach and stuff like that. It's a nice feature to have.
100%. And then also we'll notice, just with the paint schemes, this is all full body paint. We don't offer anything but the full body paint packages on the coaches. And one of the things that sets us apart a little bit is the type of paint we're using, because we do use a Sickens brand paint. And what's unique about Sickens paint is that the paint itself doesn't cure all the way in the process. And why that's important is motorhomes are made out of fiberglass. And if you go into cold conditions and then warm conditions, fiberglass as a material will actually expand and contract. And if the paint doesn't have any elasticity to it, which by it not curing all the way allows it to have some movement and some stretch to it, it's not going to crack. And so, sometimes you'll see those older motorhomes that have almost a spider web typing look on the outside of them. Yep. Those coaches have to be reskinned or sanded down and repainted. You could be looking at upwards of a $20,000 bill down the road. With Sickens paint, you're never going to have to be worried about that checking problem because we are investing more in our material. We also put a 3-coat UV baked on clear coating on the coaches as well to protect the paint from sunlight over the course of time. Still lots of storage. I mean, look how much storage is in here. You have a place to hang up your power cord reel, a lot of vertical height again. And, again, I mean, you're never going to have to worry about having too much. And with the chassis and everything else, weight bearing capacity just really provides you with all the benefits at home. And I mean, look how wide the storage area is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this is really important in a lot of cases too. I mean, the bigger lawn chairs, sometimes they don't want the little collapsible ones that go down like this, those big comfortable lawn chairs that go all the way out that are kind of like recliners. It gives you the ability to take these, because in a lot of products you just can't take them unless you're going to put them inside your motorhome, stuff like that. The larger coolers, and then I think it's really cool that y'all did the suicide style door hinge here to just create this big area to where it's easily accessible. Your main cargo area is really easily accessible.
Absolutely.
One other thing we failed to mention earlier, we were talking about the paint was just the actual, the extra step that y'all go to as well. I believe it's standard equipment on all of your diesel coaches to have the coach mask here.
Yeah, we do the invisible bra. In fact, it used to be an option, but it was such a popular feature that we went ahead and made it standard, because it does such a tremendous job of making sure that it protects the front from rock chips. People don't even realize that it's on there. I mean, it's invisible and just does a tremendous job for us. Another thing, Donnie, that I love to talk about is the way that we really capture the road with our windshield. You can see how tall, how vertical it is. One of the things that can be intimidating about these bigger rigs is understanding kind of where you're at on the road and the comfort level. And by bringing in a very vertical windshield, you're really situated in a way where you see where everything's at. You feel comfortable. You know how close you are on your lane and whatnot. Another thing about it too is the fact that you'll see it's an automotive style bonded windshield. So we glue this in rather than those old larger bulb seals of the past. And we really tried to become more automotive. It gives you a much cleaner look. It's much more reliable. It's not going to come out on you, and really we design it in a way where it is just really built to last.
And y'all also pay attention to really small windshield posts themselves, and the placement of the mirrors, being behind the windshield post, just really make it nice when you're behind the driver's wheel. Just the visibility, not just out the windshield, but just how easy it is to see down the sides of the motorhomes and utilize your mirrors without that windshield post kind of obstructing your view the way that it does in a lot of motorhomes.
We make safety a huge priority, and blind spots is one of them. Another thing too, when we're talking safety, is this does have a steel firewall in here. So the generator access is very easy with that 6,000 own and quiet diesel generator, and then a nice steel firewall, and then again that steel forehead. So if you're out traveling, you get your grandkids along with you. We build a lot of steel into the front end of the coach to protect family members.
Well, hey, why don't we put the slide-out rooms out and let everybody see what the Palazzo has to offer on the inside?
I'm really excited to show you, Donnie.
All right, let's do it. What a great looking home, Adam. I love the new interior leatherettes and the two-tone drivers and passenger seats. Just a great looking coach this year.
Yeah, no, and I'm particularly excited about the new bow floor that we've added. And as you may have noticed, we now have bow floor underneath the dinettes, and we've taken it all the way back to the bedroom. There's still so many manufacturers that are putting carpet under eating areas and then in bedrooms, and
I know.
It's so much easier to keep a motorhome clean when you have it all this type of surface. And I think Marine did a really nice job with the design for this year.
Really, all three interiors, and both of the woods. I mean, y'all got a great choice between the Olympic cherry and the vintage maple. I mean, both of them just have a whole different look, but I mean, both blend really well with all three interior packages. So, and you just can't order an ugly Palazzo. Y'all really did a great job.
Well, and we do use maple doors, so we're using the nice materials, and it is a raised panel. There's a lot of companies that'll just run just a flat type panel door design, and so we are utilizing our vendors that we have locally and making sure we're putting the right types of quality products involved.
Right. And to touch on it again, I know we spoke about it outside, but a lot of times, people don't really understand what we're talking about when you start talking about the extruded, the steel that y'all put into the walls. Everywhere where there's a screw, where there's a cabinet that bolts into this coach, it's not running into any wood. I mean,
that's correct.
Art Rivard loves to go around with a magnet, and it really is. It makes so much sense because you can visually see it, but you can literally walk around these coaches and put a magnet up against this wall right here, and they'll stick. And inside the cabinets, in the uppers and the ceiling, just everywhere where there's a screw, there at your entry door handles. I mean, just the longevity of how the coach holds up, over time, to where it just doesn't develop squeaks and rattles, and the cabinets get loose over time. And your entryway handle that everybody's grabbing a hold of as you go in and out of the coach, those things are still tight and just the way that they should be, 3-4 years down the road. So it's just such a huge deal. I just wanted to retouch on that again because it's, the cabinets are beautiful, but it's what's behind them that truly set you guys apart.
Absolutely.
I don't know if anybody else has seen that.
Absolutely. Really, if you think about it, a motorhome is really a rolling earthquake moving down the road, in a sense. And there's that harmonics, that energy, from the friction from the road, from the power of that, diesel engine with all that torque, and that energy, does get transferred into the house of the coaches. So, we start actually, before we set the floor on, and we actually lay down a neoprene layer before we put the steel floor down. And then, but there's still some energy dying that comes back in, but not as much as there would be if we didn't isolate and eliminate as much as we can. In fact, the first company back in the day, which I used to work for with Beaver, we used to use rubber grommets down underneath, and we use the seismograph to try to figure out where the energy is coming from to really take it out. So we do a similar thing in our design by eliminating it there, and then any of that additional energy that is getting into the coach, we don't anchor into insulation or something that doesn't have any teeth to it. By using that steel, it allows that to really set there and be strong, and it just makes the coach so much quieter. And you're already getting the benefit of the engine being in the back, and then when you can have cabinets that are not rattling around on you, it makes such a huge
isolator, then air ride suspension. No, it's a whole nother world. It really is.
Absolutely. And while we're in the front, one other thing I didn't mention before, but with the side entry, is the fact that you'll notice that with this area here, not only does it give you a nice seating area, but it also gives you a nice workstation. So when you're sitting up here traveling in the front of the coach, whether you like to knit or work on the computer or whatever your pleasures, it gives you a nice area, and there's even storage down underneath it. Well, just where you can hide something away. So
12-volt and 110 connections.
Yep, you got it. So it's it makes for a nice area in the coach, and a number of our competitors, they don't have the depth here because whether they designed it with a side door but they still put a front entry dash in. We designed this dash specifically for the idea that the entry was going to be midship, and we knew we had some additional depth that we could utilize with a workstation, and which is something our customers have asked for.
And, in comparison, again, to a gas rig, just another feature benefit that you get with, all diesels is you don't have the doghouse, the engine compartment up here in the front. So, a lot of people, if they have, knee issues or hip issues especially, they don't have that thing to navigate around. It's just easy to get in and out of the cab area and, of course, to spin the seats around.
It really does make this part of the coach part of the living space. Whereas if the entry was in the front, the engine was in the front, this area almost gets eliminated from the total living space. So you're really gaining almost 5 feet of workable living space in the coach by doing it this way.
And you cannot have this with a front entry door. You cannot have the cab over bed because it obstructs the exit.
You can. When you walk in, you don't even notice them. You still get the cabinet, so you're not losing the storage. And then this bed really is such a wonderful thing because it really creates a separate bedroom. That's completely on the opposite end of where your main bedroom on the motorhome is.
Absolutely. And of course, you're taking so many people with you. Y'all really do a great job in always making sure you have ample seat belts throughout your coaches. Here in the sofa, virtually everybody's doing that, but you don't always see forward and rear facing seat belts here in the booth, which is really important to me. Something that I didn't think about, and I don't have to worry about any more that, because my kids have gotten older. But, when I had still child seats, when we were traveling, it was great to be able to have a forward or rear facing, child seat, the ability to actually buckle that chair into the booth. That you're unable to do because typically you're only going to have, seat belts on one side, if any. So that's a really nice feature as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be able to sleep this many people, you need to be able to seat them safely as well. And while we're on, seat belts and sleeping subject, I'd like to point out again that we have with the sofa an airbed sleeper. Also, all of our dinettes, whether it be a Tuscany, an XT, or a Palazzo, the boot dinettes break down into a sleeper very easily, and they're good, wide, and comfortable. And you'll also notice where the TV is located, it really provides a good place to be able to sit down and look, directly at the television. We've really struggled in this business of trying to figure out, do we put it up front? Oh, we can't run that TV when we're traveling down the road. Do we put it midship? Oh, the slide blocks it from view. This TV is one where you can keep it on while you're traveling.
That's the big deal.
And viewable from all areas, as I said. I mean, even when the bed's down,
it's perfect.
It works out really well.
It does. And as you noted a second ago, I mean, the big thing is when you're actually traveling is where that changes. It's not covered up by the slide-out room like so many floor plans. You can actually buckle the kids up and they can watch TV and stay entertained going down the road. It's huge.
Huge selling feature. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the kitchen area too, because I got a lot of exciting things to show you. As a manufacturer, Donnie, we've really tried to stress and create all of those residential features of home. And as you can see here, brand name Whirlpool appliances,
Right.
full size convection microwave technology. I had a lady that had complained to me about an earlier version of the convection microwaves that we were using that didn't have a ability to turn your turntable off because of wanting to be able to do the baking.
Okay. Right.
Maybe the shelf wasn't equidistant, so that she could put the right type of pans in. So we're constantly looking at ways that we could try to make sure that it's just like you're at home, so you can go wherever you want to go. In addition to the microwave, refrigerator-wise, you can see we've gone to an 18 cubic foot refrigerator. In the past,
Yes.
8 or 10 was maybe the maximum you're ever going to see. Plus, what's nice about a residential refrigerator is it's not antiquated technology like that, ammonia absorption,
Right.
propane electric refrigerators are going to be. So, you're going to always have cold air. It's going to have the auto defrost settings. The ice maker is always going to be consistent and workable. It's not going to leak on you.
Right.
And it's so much more efficient. I mean, it's unbelievable how much little how little the amp draw is on one of these. So, if you're out there just running your batteries, you don't have to worry about it. And then because we are using an auto generator start feature on the inverter,
Right.
you can set it to voltage. So, you could run upwards of, 18 to 20 hours on this refrigerator before you're going to need the generator to kick on, but you don't have to
Absolutely.
constantly get up and down out of your chair to figure out, oh my gosh, I've run my batteries down too low, and
Right.
I'm going to cause problems.
Or did it switch properly between electric to LP gas? I mean, I traveled for 6 or 8 hours, and the pilot light blew out while I was traveling. And you get there, and the refrigerator's been off for 6 or 8 hours and didn't even know it. So it's a huge deal. The residential refrigerators, and like I said, you don't have to use your LP to run them. You're going down the road, again, you got that inverter taking care of the batteries, running the fridge. It's a huge feature benefit.
Going back to the galley area, you'll see that the solid surfaces we're using the real stuff. This is DuPont Corian countertop, just like the dinette area. So you have good quality solid surface materials that aren't gonna create rings, and you can it's gonna last a long time. Even your backsplash area is gonna be high end, and lots of storage in here. I mean, look how deep the storage is in this coach. You got outlets inside here as well, and all the things that you need. Nice big sink with both a large and a small area, and then a big propane stovetop, and then these full length drawer glides on ball bearings, so that you can get all the way to the back of the drawer very easily. Really just trying to incorporate the most amount of storage in here as we possibly can, because we are in a smaller coach, so we really need to focus in on getting at all of those areas that are available to us.
Absolutely. And then aesthetically, really nice hardware that y'all are using, and even the hidden hinges here on the door, which is a big expense that y'all go to. So I mean, it really just besides the practicality of it, I mean, it really built a beautiful galley area and coach.
Thank you. And as we transition down, you'll notice a nice radius on here, very easy access to the bathroom area. Everything's spaced out really nicely. One thing that we've noticed with a lot of design is that you might be your toilet might be on top of the sink, and it makes it hard to brush your teeth at night, or just making a shower that's big enough for any individual to be in. This is a 32 by 36 shower, so it's got a lot of dimension to it. And gives you all that roominess that you're really going to need to feel comfortable. All your stuff is integrated within the shower, so you have your place for your shampoo and your soap and whatnot. And simply you just get around. And as we're making our way through, another thing that I want to make sure I comment on is how easy it is to transition throughout the coach, Johnny, because one thing that has been we've been very critical of with our engineering teams is how's the flow going to be, not only when the slides are out but when the slides are in, and you can get to this bathroom while you're traveling down the road. Be very careful, because it's really not recommended, but you can get at it with the slides in. When you're parked over at a Walmart or a Flying J truck stop or something, you can get all the way to the bed, you can get to the bathroom, you can get to the refrigerator very easily. There's a lot of coaches where you can't even touch the bed when the slides are in. You can't open the refrigerator door, or you can't even get a jug of milk out. So, we try to really make sure that the design of these coaches is in a way where all that stuff can be readily available to you, in or out.
Right. And, the one thing while you were, we're looking at the bath here, is how well lit it is. Is the Palazzo LED lighting?
It is. It is. That's right. Yeah. The lighting on here is all LED. So if you put your hand on it, you'll notice that you're not going to get the heat. And so, when you got two 13.5 BTU air conditioners on a coach this size, you're going to be able to cool it in just about any weather condition. But, having lighting that doesn't, provide additional heat that you're having to fight against is one thing. And then another great part of it is that it only requires 1/5 the amount of energy to power these lights. And they, emit as much light as any halogen ever would. So
battery life, using the inverter when you're not, when you're not plugged up and you're dry camping, 1/5 of the battery power. I mean, you're talking about extending your stay. I mean, it's enormous. It's a huge benefit.
Absolutely. And
so that's great. I'm glad to know that y'all have gone to that.
Absolutely. And so, and on the other side here, you can see where we have our bunk area, and again, longer bunks. I mean, you would think, oh, it's a bunk model, so the bunks are all going to be the same length. But this is a bunk that I could lie on. I'm 6'1", and I can get up there and I can lie down and be comfortable. You'll see these shorter bunks because we don't have enough room or whatever. The bunks also make into a seating area. There's two televisions, and this one television that we have here in the hallway can be relocated. So if it's the two kids want to have their own TVs, then they don't have to fight over them. Or if they want to sit down together, maybe play the PlayStation or whatever, they can move the bigger TV over here to the one side. This coach has 5 televisions in it.
That's
between the living room, bedroom, and then here in the hallway. All which you have directional style of TVs. And, one thing I didn't mention before is it's not just the 33.3 and 33.2, because, our 36.1 and our 35.1, which has the TV, 46-inch TV that raises up out of the buffet cabinet. It also is a directional style of television, which is going to be a lot more comfortable for you, which is what you find in a typical home of today.
Well, utilizing this to turn it into a sofa is just a really cool thing. Not just for the TVs when they're hooked up, but I mean, you got littler kids, what I'm saying? A TV tray sitting out here. It's another place for them to sit down and eat. If you got 6 or 8 people with you, it's not, can't all sit at the dinette. So it gives just a whole nother seating area inside the coach that you can use so many different ways. It's just a cool use of the space. And, even if it's the grandparents, not the kids, they're buying a bunk model, which we sell a lot of them, to where, they're buying a bunk model to take the grandkids with, but they don't always have the grandkids with. So, they're able to utilize this as just a huge storage area because y'all don't just have the little traditional curtains, that pull across. I mean, you've got these really nice, wood panel doors that just, give the coach such a nice look when they're closed, without just the little curtains and stuff in it. So, again, you can use it for an attic space, or if your kids are
wardrobe.
Like mine.
I mean, how many times do you hear that you don't have enough wardrobe space? I mean, we do a really good job. We give, the his and hers, or I like to call it the hers and hers wardrobes on either side, which we're able to do with the full wall slides. But there's a lot of times where, people will take the top bunk out and they'll create this huge wardrobe area on the side.
Sure.
Maybe it's, the kids grew up and no longer need this space for bunks anymore.
Sure.
And, you don't have to go and buy a new motorhome. Although we may have some new motorhomes that come down the road that you may decide you want to trade up for, or down for that matter, if you want to go smaller. This is a versatile area in the unit.
No doubt. If nothing else, if their kids are like mine, you need a place to throw all their junk to where nobody comes in and sees it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as we make it down the hallway, you'll notice that we're really utilizing every single part of this coach for additional storage. We talked about the PlayStation or gaming area. You have a place you can actually set that down, and an outlet where you can plug it in. And then as you make your way back, there is that private factor with these pocket doors. So you can close off this area. Mom and dad are having their separate private space and separate themselves from the kids that are going to be in the bunk of the coach.
Right.
And then so here we are in the bedroom, very roomy, very accommodating area of the coach. I mentioned the his and hers wardrobes. You can see a nice tall hang space here. Place for the shoes, little shelf to go along with it, and then you have an equal size one on the other side as well. Nice full length mirror, so when you're getting ready to go in the morning, you're set by yourself, and you can style yourself up.
Absolutely, and a big bank of drawers over here in this particular model as well.
Absolutely. Big window, so you have the ability to have cross ventilation. We're big into windows. You know, got the nice roller shades with both the solar and the privacy shade, so you don't have to worry about, you know, those strings on the day-night shades breaking, trying to figure out how you're going to clean all the dust off of them.
Right.
You know, we've gone to these new roller shades, you know, across the board in our lineup, which we felt was a very important feature to have. And another thing I want to mention to you too, look, we're in the back of the coach. Look how much ceiling height we have here as well. I mean, this coach has an 82-inch tall ceiling in it, and you wouldn't even notice that the engine is back here.
No, I mean, we're standing on top of a Cummins diesel engine.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and when we're talking about the roominess, just look at our ability to walk around on either side. We really look at this area critically, because when you're thinking about it, I mean, you have 96 inches of room from sidewall to sidewall. So, you know, centering the bed is so important because you can actually walk around and get on and off. You're not having to climb off the end of the bed, the height of it. You know, even like you said, with the engine being back here, the height of the bed is low, where you're not having to almost get a step ladder to get on and off of the bed.
Right.
And the bed itself is longer. You would think, oh, it's a queen bed. They all have the same queen bed. Well, there's short queens and there's regular queens. This is a 60 by 80 queen. And then we also, in the 35.1, we have a 72 by 80 king. So if you're taller, if you need more room width-wise, we really look at all those factors. And because we're not having to position this bed on one side, because it's the only place we can get wardrobe like one of our competitors, we have equal-sized nightstands, you know, a CPAP
really
machine,
important.
glass of water. I mean, there's even enough room on the other side, Donnie, where there's a hamper, believe it or not. So you have a place to put your dirty clothes. And, you know, we don't even stop with the 2 wardrobes we have in the front, because we actually even put closet rods, you know, where if you want to use it for storing and stacking, or if you want to actually hang shirts up there, you know, again, a shorter coach, let's find a way to put all the storage in we can. In our 36.1, we even have a pull-out wardrobe that we put in the rear bathroom area that otherwise would be for linens, and people are always surprised every time we walk in it to be able to showcase that, because it's really something special that our engineers came up with. I mean, look at all this overhead space up above. It's such a tall, expansive space for us.
And then even using utilizing the storage under the bed. You know, even though, like I said, we're on top of a diesel engine, but, you know, it's got such a large area under there.
It is. It's tall. It's deep. You know, if you have your, you know, winter sweaters or whatnot, you can see where they're using the fill cushion for the dinette in there. You have a ladder for getting up and down off of the drop down bed up in the front, so you don't having to climb up furniture to get there. So, but yeah, there's a ton of space, and this is the area where you would go to access the motor as well, which, you know, provides any of the technicians with anything they would ever need to get at that motor.
You know, absolutely. Even people who full-time or take extended trips, you know what I'm saying, they're going to actually change seasons. You know, being able to keep their winter clothes here, you know, in crates and the plastic bins and things like that, and basically swap out wardrobe seasonally. It's just a huge storage area. Like I said, allows people to take extended trips, because you've almost got like a hidden attic.
And you have the struts on either side, so you don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger to be able to put that bed up. You know, it's very easy. It comes up, comes down very easily, and so whenever you need to get anything, you can.
No doubt. Big bedroom TV. I mean, just all really well laid out and designed just like the rest of the coach.
Absolutely, and you'll notice how the TV is mounted up high, so you're not having to worry about look through your feet at night when you're trying to figure out, you know, what's on your programs, because it's up high. You know, whether you want to sit up in bed or you're laying down, very easy to see all the time.
It's assuming you still see your feet. Well, that's good for you.
I'm losing a little bit of that though as I go along.
Hey, listen, how about the cab area? I'd really like to, you know, sit down and see the new cockpit that you've designed from a drivability standpoint. We talked about it a little bit outside, but I'd love to just see the cab area.
Let's go.
All right.
As we make our way up to the cockpit area, I slip myself into this really, really comfortable Ville International cab chair. So you can see they're really nice and comfortable, and it's all about ergonomics for us. And you'll notice, you know, as I'm moving this around, it moves around very easily. You got a 6-way power control in here. You can tilt, you can go forward and back, you know, and recline it the way you want. The steering wheel will tilt and telescope, so you can get that steering wheel precisely where you want it. And again, because this cab chair is located where it is, I'm so close and comfortable at the front of the coach, really well positioned to make sure that I understand, what my bearings are. I got my mirrors with my cameras.
Right.
The monitor itself will show me all the different perspectives that I need, and again with very limited blind spots on the unit. The pedals are large, Freightliner, really customizing this chassis to make me feel comfortable, both your accelerator and your brakes. Oh, and one thing I didn't mention, about brakes is, brakes, obviously you want to be able, you can slow this thing down. We use air brakes. So, it's air ride, but then the braking system is also air. So that really does a much better job of helping slow this coach down. In addition to the air braking, you also have the ability to use an engine retarder. We have an exhaust brake on here,
Okay.
a variable geometry turbocharger, unlike with a gas coach where you only have to just rely on the hydraulic brakes on the unit. This has air brakes, which are going to stop more weight, and then you also have an additional brake that you just simply flip on.
Right.
And when you take your foot off the accelerator pedal, then that'll actually use exhaust pressure to help slow the coach down.
Right. Creates a sensation of, it feels like you just downshifted a transmission is what it gives you that sensation. But yeah, and it makes your brakes last a lot longer as well.
They won't heat up, and you're not going to put yourself in any kind of danger. And then, obviously also another thing that we try to always do is incorporate our transmission controls on the side console, so you're not having to reach way out to be able to downshift. So when you can tie all that stuff together, you can have 30,000 pounds worth of tow vehicle and coach, and have all the ample systems on board to make sure that you're going to be safe. Other things about our dash, again, the shape of it, very good visibility. You can see it's very easy to see the gauges. There's an integrated light bar that Freightliner provides us, so that when we're seeing that great fuel economy at upwards 11, 12 miles of the gallon, you're going to be able to see how well this coach is performing. If there's any codes or anything systems wise that you need to be aware of, it's going to communicate that stuff to you. Also, you have a night shade here, so when you're bringing this up and down, you'll be able to cut some of the sun, so that you're not having to worry about a visor, having to reach up and pull down to try to keep the sun out of your face with this tall windshield. At nighttime, to cut down on the sun getting in, or just simply from a privacy standpoint, you have that as well. You have your dome light switches. All your air conditioning controls are up front. They use a Denso style of air conditioning system, so it's going to give you a lot of cool air off of the front dash to make sure this whole area of the coach is going to be well and cooled down or heated from that standpoint. We also do a really good job of insulating the front firewall, so when you're driving in colder weather, you're not going to get that cold air eking in, and you're going to need 2 sets of wool socks to be able to drive it anywhere comfortably. Also there's an auxiliary start, so if for some reason you need to push some of the power either from the chassis or the house side to the other side of the coach, you can do that. And then also with the leveling system, one of the huge things about this coach is the fact that it's so easy to level. There's a dump switch right here near your left foot. You can flip that off, dump the air. This coach is already under 12 feet, by the way, and it's 12 feet 1 inch on the 35 and 36 footer. But then you can drop an additional 3.5 inches out of the coach, so you can level it. And we use a 4-point dual action leveling system. When I say dual action, what I mean by that is that it's both hydraulic down and hydraulic up. There's a lot of the older systems, more of an antiquated design, where they use actually a spring-loaded type of system, and they use that spring's tension to retract the jack. With this system, the hydraulic will actually bring that jack down and bring the jack up, and it is a 4-point system, so you're able to really do a good job of really leveling the coach. Gives it a very sturdy platform, so whether it be high winds or just people moving around in the coach at nighttime, which in a bunk model you can have a bunch of kids running around, it's not going to shake the motorhome, and you're going to be on good solid footing because of the way that it's designed.
Well, Adam, I mean, you guys have just done another tremendous job, and obviously the RV consumers agreed over the last 18 months since y'all released the Palazzo. It's just had so much success, and certainly with all these new changes and enhancements, you don't expect for it to do even better this year than it did last.
Well, Donnie, we just really want to get people to come out here to Motorhome Specialists and drive the Palazzo, because I think that people have a different opinion of what it really is that they want to do in RVing once they get an experience to drive this Freightliner chassis on this air ride suspension, and just realize that how much fun RVing can be.
Absolutely. Well, Adam, I really appreciate you taking the time to be away from the family and come down here and spend some time with ours and hopefully our future customers.
Donnie, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, folks, if you have any additional questions about Thor Motor Coach Palazzo or any Thor Motor Coach for that matter, please feel free to contact a representative at 1-800-335-6054 or feel free to visit us online anytime at mhsrv.com. Thank you all so much for watching, and we all look forward to hearing from you very soon. But before you buy a new Palazzo or any new RV for that matter, be sure to check the MSRP, or the manufacturer suggested retail price.
Unfortunately, other dealers prefer playing numbers games and price their new units at the full manufacturer suggested retail price. Then they discount the MSRP a meager 10 to 15% or less, and many unsuspecting RV buyers end up paying too much for their new motorhome. They also use the heavily inflated price of the MSRP to over-allow on trade-ins and trick other RV owners into thinking that they are getting more for their trade-in than they really are. Some dealers even alter the manufacturer's window stickers to reflect a higher price, or remove the window sticker altogether and create their own version of retail pricing, even though this is against United States federal law. Without knowing the true manufacturer suggested price, you cannot be sure of the true percentage discount you are receiving from the dealership. Always demand a copy of the MSRP, and only do business with dealers who prominently display not only the MSRP, but an upfront percentage discounted sale price without having to ask for it. If you have any doubt about the MSRP, call the manufacturer. If you have any doubt about your sale price, call Motorhome Specialist. Thor Motor Coach's commitment to excellence in manufacturing has also recently been taken to new heights. Thor has implemented the Gold Star inspection process that requires every motorhome to pass a more than 200-point inspection and road test before leaving the factory. The final inspection process also includes a computer alignment, and every unit is rain booth tested to detect any possible leak before shipping. You'll also enjoy the comfort in knowing that your new motorhome is part of Thor's Rapid Response Parts program that overnight express ships parts when they are required for the use of the coach or present a safety concern. And I know you'll find Thor's new Concierge Connection to be a refreshing take on what true customer relations and factory support is supposed to be. For complete details on these incredible new programs from Thor Motor Coach, visit thormotorcoach.com. Motorhome Specialist is not only the #1 volume selling motorhome dealer in the world, but also the #1 Thor Motor Coach dealer in the world, offering the most diverse selection of new and used motorhomes you'll find anywhere, with prices ranging from about $10,000 to over $2 million, and every price point in between. At Motorhome Specialist, you'll never find our new motorhomes priced at MSRP. Instead, you'll find an upfront, discounted sale price that you can easily compare with other products and dealerships across the country. No matter if you're veteran RVers or first-time buyers, just looking for quality information and a dealership that will treat you fairly, Motorhome Specialist upfront pricing will take the games, gimmicks, and anxiety about paying too much out of the sales process. Because at Motorhome Specialist, we believe everyone deserves the same low price. It is this business principle that has allowed Motorhome Specialist to grow from being a small, pre-owned only dealership in 1999 to the industry leader, selling approximately 40% of all new motorhomes sold in Texas. We offer over 60 different models of new motorhomes from 10 of the most well-known manufacturers in the industry. Each are committed to producing quality products and offer something distinctly different in style and function. And Thor Motor Coach is no exception. Thor Industries was founded in 1980. In 1986, they were listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and in 2004, they were named to Forbes' prestigious Platinum 400 list of companies. They are the world's largest manufacturer of recreational vehicles and a major builder of the world's most recognized name in towable RVs. Thor's motorized divisions include two of the most popular names in recreational vehicles, Four Winds International and Damon Motor Coach. Recently, Four Winds and Damon merged to become Thor Motor Coach, the #1 retail selling motorhome manufacturer in North America, with an amazing lineup of 20 of the most well-known models of luxury motorhomes in the industry, with sizes and price points sure to fit most any RV lifestyle. So call 1-800-335-6054 or visit mhsrv.com for our upfront and everyday low sale price that has made us the #1 volume selling dealership in the world. And take the family in style on your next big RV adventure in a Thor Motor Coach from Motorhome Specialist. Why pay more? Why settle for less?
If you think that this is the right unit for you and your family, please contact a representative from Motorhome Specialist. We have easy financing with up to 20-year terms available and year-round sale prices on our entire inventory. We sell RVs to people literally all over the world. If you're flying in, we will pick you up at the airport and bring you to your new RV. Each new RV goes through a rigorous service checklist twice before your arrival. Once here, you will be greeted by a service tech and shown how everything works and that everything is working properly on your new unit. You will also have an RV starter kit that includes a new water hose, sewer hose, chemicals, and much more. Thanks for watching our video. We all look forward to hearing from you soon.